This video is powered by USA Gundam. Visit usagundamstore.com today for all of your Gunpla and hobby needs. Hey everybody, I'm Gunpla Joey, this is Apex, let's get to it. Taking a quick look here first at the box itself, up in the corner we have Hobbynetics plastic model kits, a nice schematic-y box art on the front with two images of the Apex itself. Of course, this is the USA Gundam Store Apex, the mascot for USA Gundam Store. On the side of the box, we have two images, front and back, of the Apex model kit built and painted. And we have a little bio here that says, "We would like to introduce the newest member of our team, Apex. He is a helpful little robot who loves everything about hobbies. Now you can build your own Apex with this plastic model kit." And of course, here is all of the social medias where you can follow USA Gundam Store. And on the opposite side, we have two more images here of Apex model kit. Warning, don't swallow anything in this box. And it's saying that no glue is required, only nippers. And here we have actual mentions of people that were involved with this. Of course, the design was actually designed by Corey D, which is at Links53Designs on Instagram. He is an amazing artist, so I highly suggest going and following him. And another fun fact is he is actually the same person who designed my logo. And of course over here it's saying that the illustrations and the graphic design is by Terry T. And there is his social medias there. And the images that you've been seeing here were all modeled by Chris Patz. And if you haven't followed him, I highly suggest doing that as well. So to kick things off for what's in the box, of course, we will start with the user manual here. Up at the top, we have the Hobbynetics plastic model kits. Of course, this is the USA Gundam Store Apex. And here's a nice picture of what the Apex looks like all built. This is a trifold style user manual. Of course, on the second page, we have the rundown of the runners. As you can see, there aren't too many runners and not too many parts, so this should be a pretty simple but fun build. Here we have a little diagram of Apex himself, the head, body, arms, and a little bio of what Apex is. And of course, caution, don't swallow anything in here. And of course, we have the instructions themselves, which seem to be pretty straightforward. I like how Apex is actually there telling you things, which is really neat. And on the back side, it's just the continuation of these instructions. And of course, on the back, it shows that you can actually have swappable faces. Taking a look at the first of the 5 runners, this is runner A, done in all white, and of course this is the body and head pieces for the Apex himself, and the plastic seems to be very high quality, and it has a nice gloss finish to the surface. Next up we have runner B, which is done in a dark gray with kind of like a semi-gloss finish, which is nice. And of course this is like accessory pieces, the hoses for the head, the faceplate, stuff like that. Runner C is the smallest of the runners, which only has 2 pieces on it, and they are molded in red. Next up, we have runner D, which is done in this transparent deep blue. Of course, this is for the eyes, the thruster for the bottom of Apex, and, of course, the iconic USA Gundam Store symbol, which is the Apex symbol for the chest. And the last of the 5 runners is runner E, and of course this is the faces done in a darker gray than runner B, so it's just a really dark gray, but it is really nice, and of course you have the happy and giggling faces. Aside from the runners, you do also get a set of LEDs, which is really nice. It looks like it's all already set up. It would just require a battery. And the last item to go over in the box is of course an action base, which is really nice that they include the action base with this, as Apex of course has no legs. Alright, so about 3 hours later, I was able to get the Apex completely built up, all the nubs and everything sanded off, so it's really not a terribly involved build. And it won't take you a whole lot of time, but it was a very fun build. Now, there are a couple notes about the build itself. Fitment was actually really good, all things considered, except for 2 little minor spots, and it was right here in the elbow joints. The peg that goes up into the shoulder, I had to shave that down. It was actually too wide to go up in there. Now, I'm not sure if that was just a my copy thing or if that's kind of a standard thing right now, but just an FYI to help you out. This, you know, needs to be shaved down just a little bit. And while we're still talking about the build itself, I want to go over the 2 seam lines that I can basically find on this kit that could be addressed if you wanted it to. And there's only 2 sets, like I said, and they're right here on the forearms. So on the forearms, you can see that it's 2 pieces sandwiched together. And of course, I haven't done the seam line removal yet because I will be painting this kit. But if you were not painting this kit, you could just simply glue those together, put some thin cement in there, sand it up, and then you would never see that again. But painting it, you would probably want to modify the elbow in here, and basically the elbow at the bottom is just a circular bit, and this peg runs through and then sandwiches on the other side. So just simply cutting a C into that circular bit at the bottom would make it where you could put this piece together, do the seam line removal, and then attach it onto the arm. Other than those 2 seam lines, the other panel lines on here are actually panel lines, it would seem, because as you can see in here, that is an intentional panel line because there is material at the base. So there is a panel line down the head, and there's also a panel line down the body. But it would seem that those are intentional. So once again, out of this entire kit, only having 2 sets of seam lines is fantastic. Now, of course, I did go a little above and beyond as far as the cleaning goes on it, so there are multiple areas that have mold lines and stuff like that, but that's not that big of a deal. A little bit of sanding and that's, you know, gone. As far as everything else goes, this was a very fun little build. If you missed it, me and Geo Builds went live on Instagram, and we kind of palled around and chatted while we both built up on our apexes here. I didn't build the entire thing on stream, but you'll be able to see at least some of it. It was fun, it was a good time, so if you want to, go check that out. As far as aesthetics, as you can see, he is on the base right now, so I'm going to take him off of the base. Now, quick side note about the base. The base, and I'll put a little picture probably over here, so actually comes with 3 segments. Let me set him off to the side. It actually comes with 3 segments, so there's another segment that actually goes on the end here, but whenever I put that segment on, it actually made it a little too loose, and so Apex wasn't really staying up very well because, honestly, for what he is, he's got some heft to him. He's a hefty little guy. But as you can see, there's a little hole in the back, little peg, and of course that just pegs right into the little hole in the back. Now it is still a little flimsy because of how heavy he is, but if you get it positioned just right, with 2 segments, not 3, but with 2 segments, it still should be just fine to be able to hold him up. But to look at the aesthetics and everything, let's take him off of this so we can take a good look at him. Of course, he has 2 faces, and as you can see here, there's actually a little lip down here where you can pop the face off and put the other face on. The transparent blue plastic is transparent for a reason, as it does come with LEDs. I do not have the LEDs set up in him right now because, of course, I will be taking this apart and painting it, and then I'll put the LEDs at the end. I won't be lighting it up in this video, of course, but in the finale for this, whenever I do the painting and everything, I will put the LEDs in there and show that off. Then here on the side, this area here is actually made of a lot of pieces. There's a white piece that goes on the inside, and then the gray piece, the red piece, the white piece, and then the other gray piece. So there's a bunch of pieces in here, but that makes up for some really nice color separation. There's no stickers in this whole kit, and that is amazing. Around back here, of course, more demonstration of just that awesome color separation with the gray piece around the outside and the white piece in the middle. You got a little like power core little thing in the back here. So aesthetically, this thing is Really, really, really cool. I like it a lot. As far as the accessories go, as I said before, you do get an alternate face. Here we have him like all happy and giggly and smiley, and it's really, really cute. And of course, like I said, you just get up underneath these areas here, pop the face off, pop this one back on. And as far as the hands, you do get other options. Here you can see we have these little Lego hands, which are adorable. Of course, you don't have to have this Lego style hand on if you don't want to, because you do get alternate hands. And to do so, I'm actually going to pop the arm off because it's a lot easier to do this without him, having it attached. But basically what you're going to do is just pop the hand out, and then this piece here will actually detach at the base just like that. And you get two alternate hands, which are just basically a half sphere to go on the end of the hand like so, and make it where, say, the little robot hand was retracted in, and a lot of the artwork you see of him has his arm like that. I actually prefer this arm better, I believe, but just to show it off, there it is in the two different configurations that you can have. So moving right along to the articulation, of course he has nothing from the waist down because he has no legs, but what he does have is a little transparent blue thruster down there that will light up whenever you have the LEDs on, which is nice. But for what this little guy is, he actually has some pretty decent articulation. The head is on a ball joint, so of course you get a full 360 there and a little bit of movement. Now if you want movement to go further, just pop his head off real quick so I can show you exactly what's going on in here. There's a giant ball joint in here, but it's actually on a slider, so you can slide that up. It's a little easier to do that just taking the head off and putting it back on, but you can slide his head up, and that will actually give you the movement in the neck. So he can actually look up, look down, and all sorts of, wiggliness going on up there. And of course you can always just slide that back down, and that will stabilize the head again. In the shoulders, you actually get a ball jointed shoulder, and the arms can go forward, they can go back. If the head wasn't in the way, it could do a full 360, and you do get a nice bend at the elbow. It's not a incredibly deep bend or anything, but for what this little guy is, he is able to bend his elbow. He does have a bicep rotation. It is really snug on mine because, as stated before, I had to shave that peg down, but I didn't want to shave it down to the point where it was loose and falling out. So it is a little snug, but he does have a bicep rotation. And down here at the hands, you get wrist rotation. And to wrap things up with a little bit of a size comparison here so you can get a good sense of scale of the Apex model kit, here it is next to the 1/44th scale entry grade RX-78. So as you can see, he is a pretty sizable guy, almost the same height as it. And keeping with the whole no legs theme, here he is next to the real grade Zeong. So hopefully that gives you a good sense of scale of the size of Apex. Alright guys, that's going to do it for my review on the Apex model kit from USA Gundam Store. I hope you liked this review. I hope it was insightful. And, if you want to get one of these super adorable, amazing kits for yourself, of course you can head over to usagundamstore.com where you can pick one up. And moving forward with this kit, I do plan on painting this kit. So I do plan on disassembling it, painting it up, and all that good stuff. And as far as what I'm planning on painting it with, I'm planning on painting it with the Apex Blue, the limited edition paint that SMS made for USA Gundam Store, because why not? It's Apex on Apex, which is amazing. So, look forward to that in the future. And as always, a like and subscribe would be appreciated if you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one.